Tracy. Welcome back to my channel. Here is another layout for our Sketch to the Max collaboration between me and Crafty Meggy. And we are using the Pink Paisley Pick Me Up collection. This is paper number 14. It has a beautiful moss on the back, but I really like the stripes. It really fits the photo that I'm using. I love the colors in this. And I'm doing an 8.5 by 11, which I normally don't do, but um, Megan and I had a conversation about, cropping. And I mentioned that it's funny, as much as I love to travel, I take all these photos and I don't hardly ever scrap them. And she kind of questioned, well, why did I do that? So I thought, well, why don't I go ahead and grab one of my recent trips. We went to Paris in the fall, and I had started a little scrapbook when I first got back. And I thought, well, this is a great opportunity to use this sketch and the beautiful papers to make a layout. So the photo is of Venus de Milo, and it is in the Louvre. And I wanted to tell you about that trip that when we went to the Louvre, it is an enormous museum, and we only had, X number of hours to stay or spend there, or that we wanted to spend there. So we found an app on our phones on what's the best way to see, the Louvre, and there was the top 10 attractions to see in 2 hours. So it showed us how to, where to find it. And for some reason, this one was the hardest one for us to find. I don't know. We were kind of directionally impaired. I don't know exactly. But, and it was the most important one for me to see. It was more important than the Mona Lisa. And I wanted to make sure that I got a selfie with it. So this is Venus de Milo. It's a statue. And what I don't show on this video is I do put the little foam letters that come with the kit, with the Pick Me Up collection, and I put that at the bottom of my photo. So this is the frame paper that I'm cutting out now, and I end up cutting out almost all of the frames. I really like this. I think that they are they're very cute, and they're easy to layer, and I just wanted to have them on this layout as well as in future layouts. So I'm thinking maybe the next one I will also use these little frames. Now, the doily that the photo is on, I got that in my click kit. It's kind of a mint green, and I have no idea where Erica got those. They are just beautiful. It's like laser cut. It is just beautiful, so detailed. Also in the collection was a vellum sheet, and it had all of these cut aparts in different color blocks with gold foil words on them. And I have decided to just go ahead and cut them all apart. And I've used several of them here on this page. Now, I didn't want the vellum to be see-through. So as you saw that, I put it on some white cardstock, and the ones at the top, the one that's on the frame, it actually says, "Shine on, you beautiful star." And the blue one says, "Follow your enthusiasm." And then the red one says, "Fun." Now, next to the photo, there is one that says, "This is the life." And I put it on some cardstock, but I cut between "it is the" and "life" so that I could put "extraordinary." Now, that came in the ephemera pack. And I believe that is the only thing that I get from the ephemera pack. Yeah. So, as you see that I brought back the flowers that I had from last week, that these are the ones I had left over. And this is a Vibes in Blushing Bride. And it matches pretty close to the main vellum piece that's up at the top, kind of a maroon color. And it has a sheen to it. I'm not quite sure what color it is. But, anyway, I let it dry. if been following my videos, you know that I don't like to use the heat tool. And when it dries, it kind of curls up the, the flower petals. And I use the, um, oh my goodness, you guys are like, girl, spit it out. The marshmallow cardstock. And that is thick enough where it gives such a beautiful, I don't know, the crispness of it is just perfect. Now, these are the Vicky Bouton stickers, and I am wanting to add something a little bit more. I do choose the leaves on this, and I'm going to use my Shimmers products. I have there's an Inklings called Green Goddess, and then the Creamies is Jolly Green Giant. Now, the Inklings has a little bit of a shine to it, which is nice. And then of course, the other one, the Jolly Green Giant, the Creamies doesn't. Now, my kitty cat, of course, I think there's a bug flying around. I probably had the back door open and the bug flew over. And naturally, she wants to get in front of my area just as, I'm letting those flowers dry. And I just knew that that was going to be another disaster. Seems like for the month of April, I've had several disasters. And there's another one in a future video of a mini disaster. So I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. I just don't need my cat, causing to, adding to the troubles. All right. So with those creamies and the inklings, you have to add a little bit of water. And if you let it sit for a little bit, and that way it will, reconstitute or, so that you can use a paintbrush. And I decided to do the Green Goddess first and just dab it in the middle. And when I do any of my watercoloring, I try to add more than one shade. So I don't even let it dry. I go on to the green. I do try to stay within the lines, but naturally, just one little area will, poke out of the green outside of the black lines. And I don't like the way that that looks. So I do make a wash and I take the creamies, I put it on my craft mat. Oh, there goes the cat. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. She didn't step in anything. Anyway, so I'm going to put the creamies on my mat and add some water. And it makes a very faint green color. And I'm going to put it over the whole sticker so that you can just barely see, that there's some green. It's very faint. I like that. It doesn't really look like a sticker when you do it like that. It looks like a die cut or something from the ephemera pack. And I wanted it to go behind the flowers. It needed a little something. And I've used up my ephemera pack. I don't have a lot of embellishments for this kit. So I needed to go outside the source to, to fill up the empty space. So I guess it was the next day, maybe the day after that. I got my flowers out and they're all dry, but I need a little bit more of dimension. So I had used the Vicky Bouton art crayons and I'm kind of going around with this pink color. I add a little bit of pink and the purple to give it a little bit more of a dimension. I really like it. And these little brushes are wonderful. And to clean them is a breeze. I just rubbed it on the baby wipe and they are like brand new. So the color comes right off. They don't stain. I really like that. All right, gonna put it all together now. Now, if you'll see when I'm gonna put it's basically that was trash. That was something that comes in the ephemera pack that holds, the flower in a frame. And I always choose to keep those because you never know. And I was able to use it. It just adds a little bit of color. I really, really like that. So don't ever throw away that. You never know how you might use it. Now the extraordinary, I am gonna put on some foam tape because I do want it to be a little bit more elevated. Needs to stand out more. So this is the extraordinary life. I feel very fortunate that I'm able to travel, that I do. I have wanted to travel my whole life, and I just wasn't able to until the last maybe 10 years. And my philosophy on, waiting to retire to start traveling, I'm a believer that you never know where your life is going to be if you're even going to be able to retire. I didn't choose my career until I was in my 40s. So I don't see myself retiring for a long time. And I don't know what my health is going to be like by the time I do retire. So I want to go ahead and travel while I can. And then when it is time for me to retire, I can, just relax, or I can still travel if that's possible. So that is my philosophy about why I'm traveling now. So putting the flowers in place. And for the center of the flowers, I do use some sequins. Now, I did pull that die cut from the ephemera pack, and I thought about cutting each one of those little flowers individually, but I decided not to. And I'm going to go ahead and put it back in my cut pack. And for the bigger flower, I am using these are Spiegelmom scraps sequins, which I absolutely love. And in the close-ups, you'll be able to see what kind of sequins I use. So I want it, to be the center of all the flowers. And for the puffy stickers, I pulled out the camera. So you have a little pop of color down there too. So these stickers, they just watercolor beautiful. Vicky Booten did an awesome job, creating those. And there are so many stickers that come in that pack. I also did a couple of hearts, and it was hard to tell whenever I was doing the watercolor, but just to have a little pop of color there, even though it's green on green, you can still see. And there we go. Well, thank you for joining me today. If you'll give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment. I will respond back. I usually do. But I wanted to say thanks so much, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.